Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's something that we just avoid. We just don't want to go there. It scares us. I'm not talking about going to the dentist either. I'm talking about change. When things happen or you need to make a change, we fear it, we avoid it. We should probably look at embracing it because it's for the better in terms of our lives. We're going to deal with that today and how you can better deal with change. She is an amazing life coach, a licensed massage therapist, speaker, author, cancer survivor. She's been through a lot of changes, and she's Patti McGee, and she's with us. Hey, Patti, how are you?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. Today's a beautiful day, you know.
Yeah. What's guaranteed to change? The weather. That's one of those things.
It's the only job that you could be wrong 99% of the time and still keep your job, right?
Yeah. Why? Because things change.
Yep.
You know, the first thing I think of here is a song by David Bowie, Changes. And the chorus goes, turn and face the strange. Changes. It is tough to face the changes. Sometimes it's, I don't want to say easier, but maybe more manageable when you're forced to make a change. Life changes, something happened, and now you got to pivot and go. Why are we afraid of change? Why is that, Patti?
Because it's not easy. It's the unknown that we don't know about. What happens? What if I fail? What if this happens? What if that person doesn't like me? What if, what if my marriage isn't right and it doesn't go right? Is it the right person? And we ask ourselves, our brain is going 24/7 with all these thoughts, and we got to learn how to bring them in and sort through them without getting overwhelmed. And the first way with change is to just believe that you can change. In this world today, people are constantly throwing things at us. Try this, do that, do that. And you have to want that change. Okay. If something is calling you, it's calling you for a reason. Like massage therapy was calling me. Life coaching was calling me. The massage therapy, it took me 2 years before I would step into it because I was afraid of that change. I was comfortable in my job as recreation director. I knew everybody, but I was miserable. I was tired of the politics of it. I was tired of a lot of little things, and I was called to massage. And it took me 2 years to step into it. I finally got pushed to that, my back against that wall where I didn't want the fear of cancer coming back from stress. So I finally made the change. And it was one of the best decisions of my life.
Wow. But there was the reason. You had a reason.
Yeah.
You didn't want to take on the stress. So you had a reason for change. And I guess you had two fears, health or change. And worrying about the health made you move toward the change.
Yeah.
Do we fear it because we think could be making a mistake with that change, or we don't know what's going to happen along with it? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That fear of the unknown, and if we have to remember that we are where we are right now for a reason. And sometimes we stay in it too long. Okay. And if you look back on some of your friendships, because people are supposed to come and go out of our life, and some stay, but for the most part, they come and go. And have you ever clung to somebody or had somebody cling to you and you knew you were supposed to part, but neither one of you knew how? And then it ends in a miserable way versus just being able to look at each other and say, Steve, it's been great, or I'm just busy. My life has changed. I'm moving on in this direction. And I had to do that when I quit drinking 10 years ago. People wanted me to stay the same. They would open drinks and put them in front of me and say, yes, you want this, because they didn't know how to deal with me. And I had a good friend in New York that if I stayed drinking, we probably would have gotten married. but I couldn't bring him along in this journey with me because I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I was changing, and I knew he didn't want to change.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's another one. That's another one where you're involved with somebody who doesn't want to change with you, and you just know this is not right, and it's just you got to leave it. Um, and I've often heard that we evaluate our lives every 5 years. We take a
oh
look
yeah.
at what's going on there. Yeah, maybe clean house in terms of relationships and everything else. And they also, with that comes the 7 year itch in relationships.
Yep.
And I've heard that it is the 5 year evaluation, but it takes you 2 years to make the change.
And that was me with massage therapy.
Hmm.
I went through the chemo, the radiation. It wasn't a 5 year to 7 year, but it was similar. I was doing the massage, laying there. I could help people. I could help people. How do I leave a $60,000 a year job to the unknown of massage school when I have a 9-year-old child?
Yeah. And there's fear involved in that because now you're responsible for somebody else. And what if you don't make the right choices or the change that
Yes.
you're considering could impact them?
Yep.
So there's,
There's
play it safe, play it safe. Maybe that's not the right thing to do.
plus you have other people telling you, like I had family members, you are crazy, you lost your mind, the chemo did something to you. And it did do something to me. It made me realize life is too short and to quit living under other people's thumbs that want to control you and keep you where you are because it's safe for them. They don't want you to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had to break
Totally.
through that over the last 20 years. And the biggest one was moving to Georgia.
Hmm.
Telling my family after my mom died, hey, I'm going to Georgia to be closer to my son. Then they wanted me to go on antidepressants and this and that. And I'm like, man, I should have moved 30 years ago. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and I couldn't leave my mother. I couldn't leave my family.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
probably was called to it in my early 20s and couldn't leave home.
Isn't it interesting that there are things within you that keep calling you, but you don't do it because again, we're afraid of change, but also you have those other things that are hanging out there,
Yep.
family or whatever it might be. Would you say, Patty, once you get used to making change, doing changes, big ones, it gets easier?
It gets easier, but there's some things in our past, and that's where a life coach comes in. Like I have a life coach and a spiritual coach. And when I get stuck on the things that want to bring me back, like I want to recoil, okay, because something happened, say 10 years ago. I recoil back a little bit and they're like, okay, what's going on that you don't want to step into this? Whether it's sending a letter to Rotary, asking them if I can speak there, or even signing up for this podcast. I don't know Steve Harper. How can, what if it's not good? What if I'm terrible? But I go back and I listen to these episodes and I'm like, wow, those were phenomenal episodes.
Hmm.
Steve is so good at what he does to bring it out, and that's what helps you keep going forward.
It's you. It's not me.
So it's both of us,
Yeah.
but, and so we have to learn to trust ourselves. And that's,
Yes.
and that's where the life coaching comes in. That piece of it is, if you're stuck, reach out to somebody rather than sitting there and beating yourself up, because if you encounter a setback, remember it's not a failure. Failure only happens if you give up. You can start over as many times as you want to.
What you just said, we could just shut the microphones off and take the headphones off, in that you have to trust yourself.
Yes.
And until you get to the point where you really do, maybe you don't fully trust yourself, but you're in tune with yourself,
Yeah.
and there is a level of trust. I think that is the basis for making change. You need to be able to trust yourself and your decisions and the gut feeling. And we've talked about that before, interpreting the gut feeling. Last night I was trying to make a decision, And I'm driving in the car. I'm like, all right, what do I got? What do you think? Which one do we go? Where we go? Um, Hey, I made a decision in terms of what I needed to do last night, and I think it was good. I made a good decision. I don't know what the other would have been. Doesn't matter because I was happy with the one I made. But yeah, being in tune with your gut, your intuition, I believe we all have it. We all have the answers. It's all here, but
It
sometimes
is.
it takes a little soul searching, a little work, or
Yep,
a coach to bring that out so you trust yourself.
exactly. And if you had gone the other direction, would it have been that horrible?
No, absolutely not.
Right? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The only
I-
time things are terrible is if it's something done to you, harm done to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those things are out of our control.
Yeah.
So when we're thinking about, change, you want to be hungry for it. And like I said earlier, if it's calling to you, step into it, do it,
There's a reason.
whether it's going on vacation with somebody you really don't know.
I'm doing that tomorrow. I'm not even kidding. I mean, I know them, but I've never gone away, gone on vacation, and it's fine. I'm not, I can't wait. But it's funny you say that. It's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm doing, and it's like that's fine. Um, but it's
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You'll know when you get back. Oh, I'm never going with them again. Or man, that was awesome. We're gonna,
all good. And
you know.
I'll back that up. It was same exact time last year, Memorial Day road trip, about a 6 hour road trip with a bunch of people who I had met in the past year or so. Great time, fantastic time. There were challenges there
Yeah.
and a learning experience, all the different personalities. And I will tell you this, there are some that went on that trip and was guys, girls, a whole mix of people. Um, I don't talk to anymore, and neither do the others talk to because right away that weeded it out. Things
Yep.
that when you go away with somebody for a couple of days, that you get the real taste of who they are. But all good. It's great, and those who remain, we're all great friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's how life works. If we don't read so much into it, we
exactly.
shouldn't get overwhelmed. Okay, change is difficult. You just got to breathe and begin again. Walk away for the day if something's not right, and then start again. There's nothing wrong with that. We think we have to succeed at everything every moment that we're doing it, and you
Yeah.
can't. Your best, the Yankees don't win every game. The Mets don't win every game. Nobody does. There's no team that is 100% other than the Miami Dolphins who went undefeated in one season, but we have to look at us and what we want, set reasonable goals for ourselves, not easy ones. You should have a couple easy ones that make you feel good. It's kind of like that daily routine where you get up and make your bed. It makes you feel good for the day that you made your bed.
Hmm.
So have a couple easy goals that down the road you can accomplish and you feel accomplished to keep you going. But set those ones that you have to step into and
Hmm.
create that change that you want. Because when you're hungry for it, nothing is going to stop you. I started telling you a story a few podcasts ago. I weighed 218 pounds and my son weighed 280 pounds. And I had won a gift certificate to a gym. And the third session of it was the pricing, and it was $532 a month for the two of us to go 8 times, so twice a week for 4 weeks with a personal trainer together. And I said, who can afford that? Like, who can afford that? Right? But when I left there, I was disappointed. I was like, I want to do this with my son. And that weekend, he's a professional. He was a professional Call of Duty player at the time.
Oh, wow.
He won $35,000 in a tournament that weekend. So when he came home that Monday, I
Wow.
said, you're going to pay the car insurance. I'm going to pay for the gym membership. And for 6 months, we paid that gym membership. It was the best decision, the best change. The personal trainer was set up so that her and I became friends. which led me to change spiritually, which led me to change my body. I did Iron Girl sprint triathlons. I mean, I was 50 years old. I hadn't ridden a bike in 30 years. I did the Ride for Missing Children up there in New York. I think it was 88 miles or something. All that at 50. I was scared to death, but I wanted it. I wanted that change so bad. And in the midst of it, my dad died, things like that. And my son moved away. So where we are today is where we're supposed to be, and we're supposed to be working towards these things and not afraid of them.
Mm-hmm. What you just said, I totally agree in having a trainer. And I did it 2021 for probably 8 months. Best shape I was in probably 30 years. I've since gone off the rails. Got to get back on. But just even the mental, even the talking to this person who was a kind of a friend before that, and then this is something they also do. I need to make the change to go back to it. Find the time to do it, fit it in somehow. I go to the gym now. I'm not getting it done like I was getting it done. And even just, in terms of, we talk about, fear, there were some times where she had me doing stuff like Iron Man stuff, like I'm lifting, these huge tires and just all, there was one time she videoed me. I actually looked as I'm doing, I'm like, I think that could pass out. No, this could go bad. But I was in the best shape and need to go back. And you know what? The first thing I thought of was the financial end of it. Is this worth it? Should I be doing this? And I'm going to say it now. You shouldn't should on yourself. I should not have even thought about that. And the same thing with a life coach. It can be a game changer in your life. And then you're fixated on the financial end of it. If you want it, it will happen. Money will come. Money will come. It'll figure itself out.
Just like it did for me and my son.
That's my point.
And he stopped after 6 months. I went on for another 5 years with the same trainer.
Good for you.
Yeah. And again, when you're hungry for it, nothing is going to stop you. Nothing. And you may have setbacks. You may have to go in a different route. You may hit a wall. I think I said this before. Lisa Nichols, she says, not every doorway is meant for everybody. It's meant for you to go through. You can't bring everybody along with you. And so don't get caught up in all of that. You step through and then you can go back for those people later on. If you want to bring somebody along with you, or you want to take care of people that can't afford your services and stuff, but get what you want first and get it going, and then go back and get those people and help them the way you want to.
Yeah. And they may not come along on the journey, and that's perfectly okay. Because like we said, you evaluate after a while and it just doesn't, they're not part of you anymore. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
But when we're codependent and we don't want that change, that's a detriment to us. That's a huge detriment to us.
Codependent and responsible, because you have a responsibility and you think that, I have to take care of them. I have to, take care of you. Then you take care of them. And some people can't be helped either. That's the other part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
You said something before, Patti, that stuck in my head. You can't win all the time. And imagine this world if everything was a win. Everything, you're a salesperson. I got another deal. It's great. It's something great. I'm a professional tennis player. Won another match. I never lose. You never lose. You imagine what that would be like. Think about that for a second.
Oh, it'd be terrible.
It'd be terrible, right? You wouldn't
learn anything.
You wouldn't learn anything.
Your ego would be you would have nothing else to strive for if you won every time.
And you would never see this. And this is life. If life is all this, no matter whatever this is, it's not life.
Right.
You can't be happy without being sad, because you'd never know what happy is.
Yeah. My son coaches Call of Duty now professionally, and his teams, have been in the bottom. And this year they're moving up, and he's got a big tournament this weekend where if they do well, perform well, they can make it into the championship in June.
Wow. Wow.
And, I call them before every match. I'm like, look, just tell your guys, they got this, let go of the past, tell them to move forward. Don't get caught up on what happened 5 seconds ago. Move forward. Every hill that they're on or every area in the map that they're on, tell them don't live in it. If they make a mistake, just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And just stay positive with them.
And think I will win.
Yes,
I will win.
That's what I said. Yes.
Yeah.
I said, even if this team is beating you every time this season, the odds are in your favor to finally beat them. But you've got to believe it. You've got to be confident. You got to be hungry for it.
As a parent, just to digress for a moment, did you ever think that when your son was in the basement or wherever playing video games and you're like, that's your life? You ever think that he would be making a living doing this?
It's funny because most parents would be no, because they didn't go through what we went through. He was 9 when I went through cancer, and the 3 years after my treatment was a struggle for me, mentally and physically. So he got into the video games, and he was playing them before that, but he would stay close to me. So he wanted to stay home, and so we had a bond. So I saw him, and I educated him, you can't run cops over, you can't shoot people in real life, and all that kind of stuff. But in 11th grade, he wasn't doing his homework. He was smart. He skipped calculus, went right to physics, passed the physics regents without studying. And the teachers did a call. We went in and did a parent-teacher conference, and they said, he's not doing his homework. And the very last thing they said to me was, Miss McGee, there's no future in video games. He's got to stop playing and get serious about his schoolwork. So we went home, we worked together, we got his homework caught up, and we continued, because I knew from me in high school, they told me I'd be nothing but a homemaker. And they gave me 11 home ecs. I never took anything but home economics in high school and gym, because they told me I'd be nothing. They told all the girls they'd be nothing unless they were brains. So I had to fight that my whole life.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. So I knew that I could tell him, yes, if that's what you want to do. And actually, he came home from school in 7th or 8th grade for career day, and he goes, I'm going to be a policeman. I said, why are you going to be a policeman? He goes, because they make $60,000 a year. And I said, don't do things because of the money. Do them because you love them. Well, he didn't become a policeman making $60,000. Now he's coaching a team making more than that.
Yeah.
And, and living his dream. He's going to be 30 this weekend. And
wow.
He's been living his dream since he was 16 years old.
Me too.
Yeah, can't.
That's when I started doing what I'm doing.
And talk about change. He got kicked off teams, brought back, kicked off, brought back. Back
Sure.
then it was a fiasco. Where now they have contracts, and the kids are making a lot more money nowadays. But he's living his dream, and he loves it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. And having encouragement from his mom. You helped him along that way and believed in him. Imagine if you said, and the same thing, I bring this up in terms of coaching. If somebody has a goal or desire, the encouragement is half of it. And that's where then you come in. And I'm sure you'll be honest with somebody in working with them. If you see it as, that might not be best for you based on all the information that you have.
Yes.
Maybe you might want to look at it this way. Maybe pivot over here.
Yes. Yeah. You have to get a feel for the person as the coach and say, okay, we got to shift. Something's not right here.
Yeah.
Me and my life coach recently had to shift, because we came to a point that I was struggling to step into something that she wanted me to do. So we had to shift until we could work around it, until we could get it so that I could see it in a way that it worked for me.
I don't want you to tell us what that is, because it's irrelevant. But since we're talking about change, what was in your mind about making that shift? What were you thinking? Was it a fear? Did it not align with you? What was there?
It doesn't align with me.
Okay,
And I can share because it's nothing major, but
sure.
I don't feel I need 4,000 people on my Facebook
Okay,
to be a life coach. Okay. For some reason, it's not aligning with my spirit on how I feel. But I also don't have money to pay somebody to market me. So how do I get this so that I work within the algorithm so that I can get more clients?
okay.
Okay. So I have to figure out a way to market me without sitting there and friend requesting people that I don't even know, that, just because they have a smile on their face. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Maybe I know we're just about out of time, and didn't even know we were going here, but
Yeah.
Facebook groups may
Yep.
serve you, the right ones, depending on what people are going through. It could even be singles groups where you get to be known in the group as the person who does what you do. And eventually maybe that could propel up, because those people are looking for change. They're looking for dealing with challenges. So that might be, that might be the ticket. I don't know, but you have to embrace, to some extent, social media. And I know we've talked about it before. For you, it's kind of, you're more of a private person. I totally get it. Yeah. Okay. Said the person that just changed all his permissions on his Facebook page last night.
Yeah.
Just because.
I just signed up for a singles group too on Facebook. So
there's some good there. You have to take it with, I don't want to use a old school cliche, with a grain of salt, because there's sometimes there's some craziness going on there. I'm a member of a couple of them. I just had a group of friends. We're in our own little group, and we were talking about the singles group this morning in a text. Like, what is going on there? What is this? Why is this person doing that? And I will tell you, another digression. I was made a moderator of one of those groups. They asked me. They said, "We like your views. We be a moderator." I lasted about a week after seeing behind the scenes what had to get not put up, pulled down, all of that. Not me.
Yeah.
Not me.
You don't want to spend your time doing that, right?
And then there's that. I'm not.
Yeah. That's not why you're on there. You want to have fun. You want to put your input in, and
exactly.
And give it to the people. Like, I love the podcast, so I think this is a way for me to go and get my name out there and stuff. So we have to figure that. But what do we talk about in the meantime with my life coach until we figure it out together?
Well, one thing I can say that you do, Patti, is you offer genuineness. You're authentic, and you have a passion to help people. And that all of those things you can't always find in others, especially life coaches. So that's, to me, that is the grounding level right there in terms of helping people.
Thank you.
Your website, I want to make sure I have it right. I know the one word that's key, but give it to us.
It's thehydratedlife.net.
.net. Okay. Yeah. Free consult. Somebody wants to. Yeah. And,
free clarity call the 800 number, email me, if I can't help you, I'm honest about it. I don't just take people's money, because that's not what it's about. It's, do we connect, and that's how it's supposed to be. So.
If you talked to me 5 years ago, I would be petrified of any kind of change. I'm talking any change. And I'm serious. And now nothing really surprises me. I just, do what I have to do. But it would have been a lot easier had I had a life coach. And back then, I never thought of it. It didn't even come up in my mind. I was just like kind of doing my own thing. Imagine even moving forward, how much easier that would be. Patti, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to your son, and good luck to him as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
We'll catch
Have a
up
great
soon.
day. Enjoy your trip.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.